In this video, I'm going to show you the techniques that are used to stitch out one of our standard mug mats. This is the one that will have the small opening left to turn. So this will be the one shows you. It's going to be a different design, but this is the type of mug mat I'm going to be showing you. Now first there will be a placement line that goes down. You do want a hoop cutaway stabilizer. There'll be a placement line that goes down, and all of the newer mug mats in the past year have a tack down line for the batting. Now some of the older mats do not have that, and so you lay your batting down and you put your top fabric on top of the batting. And you just need to follow your directions and also look at your color analysis sheet in order to determine if you've got that extra tack down line. But the tutorials will show a picture and will tell you exactly, will allow you to see exactly what's going to be coming up in the next steps. So this one has the extra tack down. So you put your batting over that placement line, take it to the machine, and it will tack down the batting. You will then trim the excess batting from around that tack down, and I am using my double curved scissors that I said in a previous video that are my favorite scissors. And the reason for doing this is that this tack down is slightly inside the outer edge, so that when you put the fabric down and you complete it, when you turn it around, you're not going to have batting that is stuck in the seam, and it makes for a cleaner finish when you turn it around. Then, I've got to get my piece of fabric over here because I didn't have it in the right spot. After you get your batting trimmed, then lay your fabric, your top fabric down. And I try to explain this in the video, in the written tutorial, but this is the way the designs, the majority of the designs are going to be turned this way, the direction. And please excuse my awful looking hoop. It needs to be cleaned. But the design is going to be vertical, even if it's a horizontal mug mat, which most of them are. So the opening is going to be at this is going to be the side, the right side. So your opening is going to be down here, which is actually the bottom of the hoop. So when you lay your fabric down, and this is larger than it needs to be, there are measurements given in the tutorial. You lay it down, and you want to make sure, of course, that it's past above that placement line at the top. But any excess fabric you want to have down at this bottom, which is like this, the bottom of the hoop, so that, and you will see when I show you how to finish it out, you're going to be leaving a little bit of extra fabric where that opening is, which will give you a tab of about at least a ½ inch. I like to have, sometimes I'll leave an inch, just depends on how much fabric I have left over, and that just makes it much easier to get that turned, that finished edge turned under. So I will take this to the machine, and it's going to tack this down, the top fabric down. You do not have to trim the top fabric. The only thing you had to trim on this particular mat is that batting. Then the quilt design will go down, and after I get the quilt design down, I'll come back here and show you the remaining instructions. This design went really fast because there was no applique to it. So it was a matter of just putting all the embroidery design down, and there'll be one sequence left, and it comes after the motif, the mug section motif, and then the perimeter of the mug mat. Always has a motif on it, motif stitch, when doing these types of mug mats. So you take it out of the machine, and you get your back piece and lay your back piece right side down. And you don't even have to pin this. As long as you just, I don't ever put my fingers on the fabric, but just take a pair of tweezers or something and just hold it down just to keep it from ruffling up as it goes around. I take it back to the machine. It's going to stitch all the way around and leave that opening for turning. I want to show you how to use the steam seam, and that's my favorite method of closing up the small holes that are left in the mug mats. Steam a Seam, the package looks like this. You can get it at Joann's. You can get it at, I don't know if Hobby Lobby has it anymore, but Joann almost always has it, and there's a lot of online stores that you can get this in. And it comes in a 2-roll pack. This is the 1/4-inch roll, and it looks like this when you take it out of the package. You just pull off a piece. The mug mats, if it's the smaller mug mats, it's 2.5 inches. If it's the larger ones, takes a little bit, not quite 3 inches, about 2 3/4. But you'll have this this opening right here left over after you turn the mat. And all you do is, I like to take a pair of tweezers and I cut off my piece of Steam a Seam and just hold it with the edge of the tweezers and just place that inside along the edge of the that opening. And this one is not wanting to stay down because I've already pressed this down and there's already a piece on here. You just put it into the opening right here, and it'll usually stick if it's just the fabric there. It'll be right in there like that. And then you take your iron and you press that down on both sides. Let that cool down before you try to remove the tape. Now I have already removed the tape on these, so you can see, I think you can see, that there's just a little piece of tape. That's the adhesive, and that's what's going to adhere to the other side. And then you just take your iron and you press it, and you want to have a very hot iron, and you heat press that on that side and heat press it on this side. And I do it a couple of times. Let it cool. Don't try to do anything while it's still hot. I mean, you can pull it while it's hot. You can still pull that apart. You let it cool, and it's very hard to get open after that.